What is up, guys? It's Flash back with some more charts, another video. It's Wednesday, July 16, about 3:11 p.m. Eastern. I hope everyone is having an awesome summer. We're going to get into it today. I'm going to go through my cadence, got some additional stocks, some additional tickers to look at too. We're going to look at all the stuff today. If you guys want to join the daily membership on YouTube, there's a link right below the video on YouTube. You can hit join and you will get a version of this delivered to your YouTube inbox every day around 8 or 9 a.m. Eastern. Without further ado, let's get into it. Bitcoin on the daily, we're at about 119.7 at the time of this recording. Things are looking good. We've been in this blue channel forever, just like we were tracking. It's really just beautiful, beautiful price action. Now, when we think about the global macro cycle, the business cycle, if you will, I got this image from Real Vision, Raoul Pal and Julian Battel on one of their public YouTube videos. But this is tracking the ISM, which is pretty much the business cycle. It's the manufacturing index, I believe. It's the black. And then they overlaid their own GMI financial conditions index, and they pushed it forward by about 9 months, I believe. So they have some metrics, some data that they gather around the dollar, around liquidity, and they're able to kind of project out where the business cycle is headed, right? So this is important because when we think about the business cycle in Bitcoin specifically, it really tracks the bottoms and the tops more or less, right? So Bitcoin, I think I consider it as a risk asset, also a risk off asset, honestly. But it really just flows with the business cycle. So I think it's super important to begin tracking the business cycle if we haven't already. So I'm going to include this in my cadences going forward as long as I can kind of get these screenshots from them when they release them publicly. But whenever the ISM gets above 50, right, that's when Bitcoin really likes to go on this bull market. So we haven't even cracked 50 in the ISM, and that leads me to believe that, hey, we still have a ton of room to go up in Bitcoin. So this goes right in line with the power law and the power trend, and I think this is an additional metric we can use to gauge this, right? And so if you're not following Kush Alamzada as well on X, on YouTube as well, this was from one of his public market updates, and he has this awesome chart, S&P 500 measured in the M2. And where we're at specifically when we look at S&P 500 and M2, like we are at the precipice of a giant bull market. So Kush was so kind to point this out, and it really is kind of a mind-blowing chart when you zoom in. This is a monthly chart, right? So it goes back to like 1985. But man, this is, when you put this into perspective and you think about where we're at with the ISM, we could have a long way ahead to the upside, guys. So that's kind of my point here. So I'm just trying to gather information, share it with you guys, preach the good gospel of Bitcoin and the macroeconomic environment. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Drop me a like if you're finding this helpful. All right, so let's get into my charts. We got Bitcoin, Rainbow Wave, Power Law, this core middle line, the bold green line is the power trend, the power law, right? So we're continuing to follow that. If we look at it on a regular scale rather than a logarithmic scale, I say this every time, but every week, every month, every day even, the Bitcoin network is getting stronger, more secure, more robust, and it's up and to the right, guys. It's being, finite asset is being measured in the US dollar, right? In fiat currency that continues to expand, continues to debase, right? So that's how powerful Bitcoin can be, and it's really evident on the regular scale. When we overlay M2, again, thank you to Raoul Pal and Julian Battel from Real Vision and Colin Talks Crypto as well for putting this out into the universe. But the M2 overlay has been tracking. It's been really helpful. So I have this on a 90-day offset because the 30, 60, 90-day average is 78.1%. That's the correlation, and it's highest at a 90-day offset. So it looks really, really good. I'm also tracking a 104-day offset for the price of gold, and we're actually more correlated to the price of gold. You have an 83.1% correlation to the last 30, 60, 90-day average. So that's really interesting, especially when you overlay them together. It's a thing of beauty, right? And so what I've also come across is, this blue line is the distance percentage from the moving average that you see on the screen. So here we're on the 3-day time frame. So it's the 30 period 3-day moving average. So I think that would probably be 90 days, right? 90-day moving average. But this detects, how stretched or how not stretched you are from the moving average on any given asset, right? And so it can kind of help us detect energy buildup, momentum buildup, and when that could potentially be released, right? So I'm tracking this on a daily basis, especially on the daily time frame, and giving it to my members. And so on the 3-day, we already broke out on the 1 day, but on the 3-day, we have a big breakout ahead of us, right? So we're going to hopefully expand away from this core line, this zero line, which is really the yellow line, if you kind of think about it that way. And so in addition, I also track this on a daily basis. So I have my overlays up here on the top of the screen, and then we have a bunch of indicators. What I specifically want to show you is the rate of change of the M2, right? So that's this orange bar right here, and then the rate of change of gold. And now they're pushed forward by their offset. So pushed forward by 90 days, pushed forward by 104 days. And so this can kind of help us detect when might M2 be slowing down, or when is the rate of change kind of getting negative, and same thing with gold, right? And we can kind of also see momentum and energy breakouts there too. So from my perspective, the rate of change is still positive here with M2. Gold, it kind of got a little bit negative, but it looks like it's getting coiled, right? So if we push this forward, I think we maybe be able to have a forward-looking indicator, a suite of indicators that can help us gauge, okay, do we want to take some chips off the table? Do we want to go short? Do we want to go long? I leave it up to you, the viewer, to decide what's best for you, but I can't recommend or make a decision for you, but I can just present some solid data that I'm confident in. All right, here we got Bitcoin measured in gold on the 3-day time frame. Again, we're slowly but surely breaking out of this massive cup and handle accumulation. We've done this multiple times before. This goes right in hand with Kusha's chart, right, where there's a lot of upside ahead of us, right? So party has not even gotten started yet, according to Bitcoin measured in gold. Same thing with Bitcoin measured in silver. Man, this just looks explosive. You got all these cup and handles everywhere to be seen. Bitcoin measured in crude oil futures, just a superior asset class Bitcoin is, right? It's a finite asset, can't get any more of it. So this is evident in the chart, especially when you measure it in oil, which is another asset class, right? And then if we overlay the pink line, which is MSTR, I've said this before, but Bitcoin and MSTR, they're kind of like Batman and Robin, right? They go hand in hand. Where one goes, so does the other. So, obviously we would like MSTR to outperform Bitcoin. I think that's what it's designed to do intelligently. And I think we just got to trust the chart and trust Michael Saylor here, because I think we are tracking. And then I also want to give a shout out to Julius on X at JV_finance. He puts out a whole suite of indicators. He brings the heat every single day. And so what he's done is put some standard deviation bands around the M2. So this is Bitcoin, the white candles. Then the M2 with the standard deviation bands is overlaid in the blue, right? And you have some price targets depending on which standard deviation band you're in or at. Currently, I think we have some room to the upside, and I think Julius would agree. When we overlay, or when we look at MSTR, again, thanks to Julius, we have a lot of room to the upside here. We're in the lower standard deviation band with a lot more room to go higher. So I think this is a good time to be accumulating. Not financial advice, but it is not financial advice. And then he's got some other indicators. This one I think has to do with the price of Bitcoin too. So it's M2 plus the price of Bitcoin. I think he could probably speak to it or cover it better than I could, but you should follow him on X for sure. And then he's also created this power law for MSTR, which is absolutely incredible. And I think it goes right back to the rainbow wave, right? This is the power law of Bitcoin. I think this will likely go hand in hand with the power law of MSTR, right? So we're just breaking out of this middle line. Looks like there are some crazy price targets to the upside. And in a potential future bear market, if we ever get one, I think this lower band hopefully will hold, right, Julius? And then here's my spin on MSTR. This is on the daily time frame. And guys, these blue arcs, they're really just speculation. I'm not sure if they're kind of guidelines or, I'd love them to hold, right? But these are geometric arcs, right? So I just kind of took the channel bands in the orange, and then I just kind of matched it up with the arc, and it's geometric, right? There isn't any, funny business. I'm not trying to manipulate the arc itself, but this could be a potential parabola that we're in, right? So kind of fun to track, but we're sitting at 453 at the time of this recording. And boy, would it be cool to get up to $1,000 plus by, looks like end of August, early September. I think that would make everyone happy, right? When we zoom in, MSTR in the 3 hour, I mean, we broke out of this yellow base, right? So when we zoom into that, I mean, we're kind of holding above that. We're consolidating above it, which makes me think, yeah, this is we could put the gas pedal down pretty soon and really start to rock it. I think this is kind of the calm before the storm. So it looks really good. And then, a couple other ratios, MSTR measured in gold. I mean, big picture stuff, but I mean, we broke out of this big channel. This is kind of like one big base almost. And yeah, we're going higher against gold, it looks like. MSTR measured in silver. Again, a nice little channel there on the right-hand side. And then MSTR measured in crude oil futures, another nice channel. And I could probably draw a base here as well, or a parallel channel as well. And then last but not least, I love this chart. This is MSTR measured in Bitcoin. This is why I love MSTR, because I'm really not finding any other ticker, any other asset that looks like this against Bitcoin, right? This is just a thing of beauty. Now, I think this is a Wyckoff accumulation. I'm not 100% sure. It sure looks like one, right? But we got to find out. And if you want to follow the daily membership, I track this on a daily basis. I zoom in, and I'll give you guys this breakout when and if it happens. A couple more charts for you guys. MSTR measured in MSTY. This is with dividends reinvested in MSTY. I think this is a pretty interesting chart. Looks like this could give us some signal, or at least more confidence when this breaks out. I think that will be the official run, the next run, so to speak, for MSTR. Now, this next chart may shock you. This is MSTR measured in MSTY without dividends reinvested. So I think this is just the power of a growth equity versus an income equity, right? If you're reinvesting the dividends, it's going to look more like this compared to MSTR. And then if you're not reinvesting the dividends, if you're maybe using that cash to pay bills or put it elsewhere, I mean, this is what it looks like with MSTR. So MSTR is the growth equity, MSTY is the income equity. But man, it just looks like you probably want to be an MSTR, right? Not financial advice. A couple more tickers for you guys. Here's Metaplanet on the daily, 3350 the ticker. So I'm using this momentum indicator, this energy indicator that I often use on the daily membership. And this just isn't a bullish look for Metaplanet right now. So I think, it's maybe taking a break. Maybe it's going to go sideways and build energy for the next leg higher, similar to what it did back here. But until this, in my opinion, until this looks more bullish, or until we get a breakout and some energy build up, I'm not sure Metaplanet has any steam currently. But I do think I am bullish on Metaplanet, right, in general, but just maybe not right now. And then a couple more tickers for you guys, like Coin. I sent out a buy signal at 250. I was probably late to the party here at 250, but again, if we have this massive bull market, I think Coinbase is a really good play as well. Buy at 290. I think this was end of June, and now we're at 403. Beautiful momentum breakout. Again, I'm looking for these tickers all the time. And then another one I just wanted to drop on you guys is QBTS, D-Wave Quantum Inc. on the weekly. Just a beautiful basing structure and cup and handle almost, and looks like we got a breakout. So at 1649, I think this has room to go much higher, guys. So yeah, drop me a like if you guys found this helpful. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to check out the membership. All in all, I'm have a bullish bias. I think we have greener pastures, blue skies. I'm excited, guys. So drop me a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.